Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all fandoms, welcome to the Ferret and Raccoon podcast, episode 132. I am the Angry Raccoon.
I am Ace.
I'm the Indigenous Owl.
And we are back for the first podcast of 2020. Thank goodness it's a new year, a new decade. The nightmares that was 2019 are starting to fade.
I mean, they kind of started up again almost instantly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, given some of the things that happen in the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
Australia is in a pretty rough state right now, given a lot of the forest fires and the fact that koala bears themselves might go extinct, which is a really sad thought to think that in our lifetime a animal might go extinct, but hopefully that doesn't happen.
All of the little insects as well. So many different types there that aren't anywhere else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Australia has a very
Diverse,
interesting ecosystem, so it's not good, but I think our thoughts go out to everyone and everything over in Australia.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of other silly political stuff with,
The USA attacking Iran, etc.
Yeah, it's just
There's way too much. Horrible.
way too much, but let's hope for a better year in 2019.
Hopefully it'll improve.
There's promise.
Yeah.
I guess we can first kick off by asking how everyone's Christmas and New Year was, which, I mean, mine was a bit disastrous.
Oh, no.
I think after we recorded the podcast, I lost all of my jobs. So
Oh, no.
so it was like, not sure about all that saving of money to go to Japan now, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not struggling, but it's like, you definitely don't want to be hearing that 6 days before the end of the year.
No.
But
of course,
I'm a little bit stressed. I had a lot of pre-orders get cancelled on me. I think I told you about this.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
I got one of them back. I got both of them back, actually.
Okay.
But, it's not been great. Ace, how about you? How's things been over the holidays and that?
It started off really well, and then, Boxing Day, I think I caught the flu that was going around.
Oh,
and
no.
that went until New Year's Eve. So it was, almost a week of just horrible coughing and everything. And yeah, it wasn't a great end of the year, I guess.
Yeah.
And when it finally went, got to celebrate with as much rum as I wanted. So that was
good.
nice.
Liz does a plus.
Yeah.
Was your Christmas as terrible, Al?
No, it was pretty chilled, actually.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I literally was at my nan's as I usually do every year.
Oh, yeah.
And then this year I had decided to change up, so I went to my boyfriend's house and spent dinner with their family. Mm-hmm. But New Year's was pretty dull. I don't really do anything for New Year's, because I had to work New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Then after I just went home and just watched the fireworks on TV.
Yeah, I'd rather stay home on New Year's. There's no point dealing with the stress.
Yeah, especially with how packed it gets in London as well.
I don't know why you'd want to go and see those fireworks and expect to get home.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
I saw them one year because a friend of mine wanted to.
Yeah.
Did not like. I was very annoyed by the end of that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, my God. Trying to get back.
Yeah. Horrible.
You might as well walk.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
Oh.
The thing is, I know how to get to my home exactly from there.
Oh, that's perfect then.
And I know shortcuts, so
that's
it's
really good.
not as long as waiting for a bus or a train.
Yeah, of course.
Still annoying though.
Yeah, still annoying. But in terms of media and that, what has everyone been watching or doing? And I guess I'll start with you, Al. Did you watch anything or, I guess, do anything other than Christmas over the holidays?
So on Thursday, I went to go watch Last Christmas. The film that came out last month.
Okay.
I didn't get the opportunity to watch it last month, so I thought, let me just try and watch it now, as I've got the free time. Mm-hmm. So, basically, the film starts off with, the film actually is about a girl. I forgot the actress's name. She's the same actress that's in Game of Thrones.
Emilia Clarke?
Yeah, that's it. So she's the main character in this, and basically she wants to pursue her career in singing, but she has a part-time job.
Yeah.
And then she kind of just loses motivation for that, and she comes across this guy in the first part of the film, and they start debating about a picture, and then when she starts leaving work, she keeps bumping into this guy. It's like, oh, is he stalking her or what? But it's just out of coincidence. Okay. Out of coincidence. And he's just a really optimistic guy, full of life kind of thing. Doesn't actually use his phone, which is weird.
He's a manic pixie dream guy.
Yeah, he's kind of he just has his phone in the cupboard. He's like, yeah, I'd rather not spend my whole life looking at a phone all day.
Okay.
And they kind of get to know each other along the way, and basically she kind of pours her heart out to him, like in a sense of telling him about her backstory, about her family, how they had to leave their I forgot what country they came from. I think is it Yugoslavia?
Possibly.
I mean, that is a country.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I got it right then. Yeah, they had to leave there because of a war happening, so they had to restart their new life. And then later on down the line, she had heart difficulties, so she had to have a heart transplant and everything, so it's caused a lot of trauma on her.
Right.
So she feels like she lost a part of her, like, personality after that. She felt like as soon as she got this new heart in her, she lost part of herself. So it was a really interesting backstory for her character. The film overall, actually, I thought it was going to be a love film, but it actually is more emotional and heartwarming.
Okay.
So actually, I actually would say it was actually worth the watch.
Well, all right. That's
it has a very generic setup for these Christmas kind of films, but I'm surprised with. I mean, I can kind of see the whole backstory stuff being a bit maybe too what's the word, over the top. You know, like trying too hard to be sad, but that's just my impression.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm actually surprised that it might actually have a little bit something.
Yeah.
Like all the like made for TV films and that's what it kind of reminded me of and looked like.
So right, yeah.
That's what I kind of mean.
What is it? Christmas Prince or something? It's like the Netflix trilogy.
Stuff like that, yeah.
They're horrible, hilarious, but I can't not watch them.
Mindless Christmas films, basically.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You enjoyed it.
Yeah. I enjoyed
anything else?
And I've just been playing a lot of Tekken Tag Tournament too.
Fair enough.
But I realised that actually, like, you know, the people that are hardcore gamers.
Yeah.
I realise I've actually lost that within me now. I feel like I just play games for fun now.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I cut down in gaming so much, but when I'm getting back into it, I'm like, I'm not serious about it anymore. I just want to play for fun.
Yeah. It's one of those things of you just don't understand where that drive is.
Yeah.
I have other things to deal with, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Ace, anything you did over the holidays and that?
Yeah, so I got Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, that new Star Wars game.
Oh, that janky game.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, that was my impression first, that it was going to be a real janky mess from the little I saw of it. But I did actually enjoy it. Not to say there wasn't glitches, because there was some, and some were hilarious.
But that's all I've heard from the game, is it's janky, but it's good.
Yeah. It's very similar control-wise, like, to the game Control from Remedy.
Oh, yeah.
Being the 3D Metroidvania-ish style game with influence from Dark Souls, because everything is nowadays.
Ripped off Dark Souls, basically.
Yeah, but it's not difficult, obviously, like that, but compared to
so
most...
they ripped off Neo, then?
No. Compared to a lot of action games, it is more challenging than you'd expect, which was a shock. I actually enjoyed that aspect to it, and the lightsaber battling was surprisingly engaging. And not having to shoot a gun felt nice. That's shocking.
Yeah.
Don't get many games where that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about that game because number one, Star Wars, number two, EA.
Yeah. Oh god, I forgot it was EA.
Yeah, which is a surprise because they haven't made a decent game in 7 years?
And a single player one at that.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Something weird. They're about to drop a bombshell.
Yeah.
On some random BS coming up very soon. That's probably why. And it's probably the buttering you up so that you can, I don't know.
Oh, that's it. Star Wars Jedi Knight 3. That it's going to be online only.
Yeah, it's probably what it's going to be.
No single player.
Oh dear.
But I was shocked to actually enjoy it.
Well,
it was
good.
Quite fun.
I've heard good things. I haven't really seen anything other than one person get angry at a boss. But
okay.
Yeah.
There was a hilarious glitch that I have to mention though.
What's
there was this chest that I was trying to open. Basically, to open it, you got to click the right thumbstick, and your little droid jumps into it and opens it. But I clicked on it, nothing happens. But my character gets stuck and can't move. So and then I jump to get away, and it works. And I kept doing it, it wasn't working. And then when I was trying to move on with the level, I jumped to get to a new area, and my character just started hovering like he was climbing.
Oh, that floaty thing, yeah.
And then when he finally got to a space where he was on ground, he opened a box that wasn't there, and it was that box. So I got the thing that was supposed to, it was bizarre but hilarious.
That looks like some spatial dimensional misplacing of item thing. It registered it, but then it was maybe given how they coded it, they may have not necessarily coded it where the box was, and you may have actually found out where the original coding went or some rubbish like that.
I don't know. It was just so bizarre that I had to mention it.
Fair enough. Thanks for mentioning that. Anything else?
I watched the Netflix Witcher series.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have much to say because other than it was really good, there's not really much I can say. It's like great performances, really great art direction, very faithful to the books, good adaptation of the short stories. That's... I can't delve deep into it at the moment.
Spoil it, isn't it? Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it is a pretty fresh show.
Yeah,
so,
it's only late December, so...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah,
it's worth
I won't bother with it.
It's non-linear, so it could be confusing at first.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I know about that was like Henry Cavill was chatting mad garbage on like Twitter, being like Xbox is better than PSP, or no, he was like PC's better than everything, and I was like, wow, gonna block this man on Twitter. No, I'm joking.
It's probably because all of the Witcher games are on PC.
Yeah, he said that because of that, but it was still like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. In terms of things I did, I had quite the eventful time actually. Well, without my job, I had a lot more free time.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. Can you tell how salty I am? No. One show I've been meaning to watch for a while, which is recently got a Kickstarter for a second season, and given that now YouTube has enrolled the whole thing where it's like, oh, you have to declare whether your channel/videos is child friendly or not. So obviously we can say any swear word because this podcast is not for children anymore. And I can say the full title of this series, which is Peepadoo and the Super Fuck Friends, Season 1. This is a animated 18 plus educational mini series, which is not on YouTube. You have to go to the website to watch it. And essentially it is about general kind of knowledge about sex and sexuality and other things and kind of in between that 18-year-olds might be learning about during that time. It's very extreme and it's very upfront. It doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Okay.
For example, the main characters don't wear pants.
Okay.
Yeah, their stuff is visible.
Oh, all right.
Right, okay.
Everyone except for one character, and even then Dr. Pussycat has a very large chest. But she's kind of like the...
Sorry, the name.
Yeah,
the name's perfect.
Yeah, Dr. Pussycat. She's kind of like the sex clinic expert in the series.
Of course.
I mean, this series does not shy away from anything, but at the same time, the message is always done and delivered very well. It isn't just shock value. It isn't just gross out humor or, oh, look, there's a penis or whatever. You know, it isn't just quite that. There's always a core message behind it. And I would recommend people watching if you are like over 18.
Yeah.
Like, for example, just one of the episodes is there's a new trend where it's like, yeah, it's cool to like shave all your hair off because everyone's an animal in that, I should say. And so everyone's like, yeah, we should shave and all that. And like, obviously the main character Peepadoo's like, I'm not really sure. And then obviously it's like, oh, you don't have to follow it because, you know, peer pressure and all that. And then basically everyone who has shaved their hair basically turns into a zombie. Because obviously shaving your facial hair makes you more susceptible to disease. So it's a nice kind of metaphor for, hey, be careful when you shave because that will happen. You know, stuff like that. The ending of season 1 is pretty surprising where it basically decides, hey, we're going to do this very famous animated film. And I was like, very interesting.
Okay.
I won't say what film because I won't spoil it, but it's definitely like, once you kind of see it, you'll kind of understand what they're going to parody.
I kind of think I know what it might be already.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is very famous Japanese animated film.
Yeah.
But I won't say what or how. Next thing I watched was the new Dracula series from BBC, the 2021.
I'm 2 episodes in.
2 episodes in. You might want to stop there. I enjoyed this series. The third episode... It feels like Sherlock, the third episode, and it was definitely like, because I was shocked because the 2 writers who did this, they did Sherlock and a bit of Doctor Who. Yeah. And a lot of people don't like their stuff because of how it goes. The first 2 episodes, I'm sure you will know, they're very interesting and different.
They're a wild adaptation.
Very wild, where it kind of does its own thing at points, where it's just like its own story and all that, but essentially one thing that's really clever is it kind of decides to focus on things that weren't really addressed or skipped over in the original novel, which is pretty interesting. So obviously, spoilers for a story that's almost 200 years old, or is 200 years old. So one episode the second episode focuses on the journey to England that Dracula's on. We have a whole episode focusing on what happened on the ship that Dracula was on, going to England, something that just gets glossed over in the original story. Same with the first episode. It spends a lot of time in Budapest as opposed to that just being a footnote in the original story.
Right.
Interesting stuff in the series. I did not like the third episode.
Okay.
The problem was I thought the writing was kind of lazy throughout because Dracula talks like he comes from the modern day.
Oh, okay.
Despite the fact it being like the 19th century.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is he saying all these things that people in the 2000s wouldn't even be saying?
Yeah.
And then obviously it starts to make sense, and I was like, oh, that's really lazy. You could have, because there's a reason why he would then know how to speak modern day language. There's a really interesting concept there, but they just took the easy way out because I guess they couldn't be bothered. But good stuff overall. The third episode, I was so upset and disappointed with that third episode, I didn't even write notes on it. I just wrote disappointing and ended my notes there.
I think, weirdly enough, that is kind of how Moffat's content goes.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised because obviously you know how the second episode ends. Yeah. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Where's this going?
Yeah, we don't want to say what happens, but it's like, oh god, really? You're doing this again to give people clues? Not to say there aren't great things in the third episode, but it's just like, oh, I didn't like that ending. I really didn't like that ending. But really good interpretation of Van Helsing, though.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
Really good version of Van Helsing, I would say. Won't say much more than that.
No, I almost did, and I was like, no, hold it.
Two more things I want to talk about real quick. I watched the 2016 film Free Fire.
Free Fire, oh, yes.
I thought it was alright.
Yeah.
For a concept so short, they did a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, same. I was surprised by how they handle it. It's just like, shoot out in a warehouse.
That's it.
Thing. Yeah,
that's pretty much
the whole film.
The location doesn't change.
Yeah.
There's technically 2 locations in this film.
Yeah.
And they did a pretty good job of it. So I'm glad I watched it, though. It's an enjoyable film. And last thing I want to talk about, which is a perfect segue, is Cats. 1998.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, that's fine.
That's okay, right.
I've seen this one too.
This film gave me nightmares.
Yep.
Not because I found it scary, but because it is so, I don't know, it is so its own beast that I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, they don't explain anything in this musical. Like, you think it's a musical about cats.
No.
And then they begin to explain what a jellicle cat is. And then don't explain what a jellicle cat is.
Yeah.
And you're literally 10 minutes into the musical and you don't know what's going on.
I kind of know what's going on, but this is just from backwards reading it in my own head. Essentially, the cats are deciding which one of the cats is going to die to go into the Heaviside layer, which is basically heaven.
Oh, okay.
And the reason they're called Jellicle is comes from angelical.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so, and the whole film is just basically introducing cats, and then one goes and dies. Yeah. And then that's it. That's the whole film.
Yeah, I like the costume designs. I think the performances were fantastic and the singing and everything.
One guy was basically doing his best Tim Curry Frankenfurter impression.
Yeah, was it Rum Tum?
Yeah, Rum Tum Tugger.
Yeah, Rum Tum Tugger.
The names are hilarious and confusing.
Like my favourite names being was it Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser?
Yeah, Rumple Teaser's the best.
Rumple Teaser, they're basically Cockney thieves.
Yep.
Who are cats.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, we steal things.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm just like, okay, they have like the best song, I guess.
Exactly.
And then when you get to was it the magician cat who can do anything?
Yeah.
And he just starts fucking shooting lightning. I'm just like, okay. Especially when you go back and listen to the song where it says, oh yeah, he's shy and mysterious. And then he just starts shooting lightning everywhere. And it's like, yeah, that's not really shy or mysterious.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of in your face and show off.
Yeah, just a bit. But I don't mind it. I still think it's better than the film, and I haven't seen the film. Especially as soon as the costume designs are
horrifying.
Well, in the new film, horrifying. In the original film, it makes sense.
Oh, I thought you meant the new ones are horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, they are horrifying. Yeah. Which segues nicely to our first topic, which is the fact that Cats 2019 is going to be getting an updated version to, quote-unquote, improve visual effects, as they still didn't finish the film.
No, the special effects were, let's be kind, lacking.
Yeah, and not just in how they look in general. We're talking about things like Judi Dench's hands being seen. Apparently humans and people in hoodies apparently could be seen in the original film.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Stuff that really should have been your like main priority. And instead of like kind of bragging about like star power and that, they should have really just focused on that. Because obviously it's really, really hurt the film. Granted, we're talking about a film no one wanted. No one who... People who don't know what Cats is, people who love the original, people who hate the original, nobody wanted this film. No one was asking, please ruin the Cats musical. No one was saying that.
No, such.
And it's pretty pathetic at the end of the day, having to finish a film.
Yeah.
You know, and it won't help, neither. It won't help finish the film, and I mean... You know, and it's kind of sad because if they had just ditched the whole CGI angle and they'd actually spent just a fraction of that 100 million budget on fashion designers and costume designers and had them design something that actually made them aesthetically look like a cat and then put the rest of the money into actually performers and dancers, because Taylor Swift is neither of those. So it's like... I'm not really going to feel sorry for anyone in this film. The only person I feel sorry for is the actress who plays Victoria, because I think that's a really bad way to start your career.
Yeah.
I do feel sorry for her. Hopefully she can actually get something after that. And hopefully people aren't just going, oh, you're the girl in Cats. You know, hopefully that is more directed towards Taylor Swift. Oh, is the person who's in. But
I mean, Robert Pattinson made to make a good career for himself after Twilight.
Exactly.
So people can from stuff everyone hates.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like you only had to watch the original.
Yeah.
And you know, it would have been a success. I guarantee that. But no, you had to do that whole thing that Hollywood does. You have to bear, this is my version of Cats because it's my version is better. That means it's going to make all the money because it made all that money. At time of recording, it made 60 million at 100 million budget.
16, did you say?
60.
Wow, I'm surprised they even made that much.
At one point, it was at 10.
That's something I think the box office, the opening, was only 2 million or something.
No one went to go see it.
Yeah.
And too right. This is going to be a film that will be forgotten about, and it will just become a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
10 years from now, children will be like, whoa, look at this like creepy furry stuff. But yeah, anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I'm okay. I'm alright.
Fair enough. We're not gonna scar anyone. Ace, you have the next story we're gonna talk about.
Yes. So everyone loves award seasons. We all like seeing our favourites actually get the recognition they deserve, don't we?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad that never really happens.
Except for with the Golden Globes, though, to some extent.
Sometimes there's maybe one or two that actually works. And that's it.
To me, this is the only film award that actually matters.
Yeah.
Simply because the Golden Globes are not cowards and will include Netflix films in their categories.
Shocking.
You know, and, you know, they actually regard films as art. They ain't just, oh, that film made the most money, therefore it's the best film. Which I'm pretty happy for. And main one I want to talk about, obviously, because you can look in the description, look at all the other categories and that. But thank goodness Missing Link won Best Animated Picture.
I know.
Like, against Lion King, How to Train Your Dragon 3,
Frozen
Toy Story
2.
4, and Frozen 2. The good film actually won.
I mean, 3 of them are Disney films
3,
as well.
and I mean, screw that, man.
I know,
It's like,
it's
we need a little
horrible.
bit more variation on that. I mean, Klaus was out. Why was it? I mean, granted, it might have just missed the window, but like, Klaus deserves to be there, replace that. And Lion King doesn't even deserve to be there. It's not animated. It's not an animated feature, in my opinion.
It's not a film in my opinion, but, you know.
Fair enough. But at least it won, because you look at Missing Link and you're like, wow, actual effort went into that film, as opposed to just a cash grab.
I mean, it's Leica. Of course there's going to be more effort put in.
Leica are some of the hardest working people in the film industry. Because they, literally, definition, they go above and beyond.
Yeah, just look at any of the behind-the-scenes stuff. There's so much care and dedication put into their work. It's crazy.
Especially that one scene, which they even still outdid themselves, where it's It's a scene on the train. There's a scene on the train where there is so much going on in the background. Like, because typically, obviously, you'd want to be animating maybe like 2-3 characters and the background will mostly stay still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that scene, there's about 15 things moving. And not just characters, like
Yeah.
tiny things being tweaked because it's a train rocking back
Yeah.
and forth. And I'm like, good Lord, that must have just taken them a year just to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
The only other thing I want to talk about is the boy Bong Joon-ho
Yes.
winning Best Foreign Language Picture with Parasite.
Thank
Oh.
Dog for that.
He deserved that.
Yeah.
And I do also love how he was delivering truth with his
Yes.
acceptance speech, which I think we've got to read that quote, which essentially goes as, once you overcome the 1-inch barrier of subtitles, you'll discover a whole amazing, you discover so many more amazing films.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
is a perfect quote that sums up the diversity of the film industry and films in general. It's also something that I think can kind of be thrown as a bit of a slide towards Americans because they will not watch films with subtitles.
I mean, I've got to read?
Yeah, that's partly the reason why so many films get remade is because it was a foreign film.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
Let the Right One In being remade
Yeah.
as Let Me In.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
For no
Really?
reason, just because it's popular. And there's so many more they're going to be doing. I mean, they're doing Ring again. No, sorry.
Grudge just came out.
Grudge again,
Yeah.
which no one watched.
Oh dear.
I haven't heard good things. Which,
Are you surprised?
Isn't it Sam Raimi behind this, or is he
He's just producing it.
Okay.
He basically did nothing on it.
Yeah.
He just basically got the rights and will make money off of it, which is a shame. But I'm glad he won the award, and as long as he gets more recognition. And any other categories we want to talk about, or winners in that?
Yeah, so
go over real quick.
I wanted to talk about the best performance by an actor in a television series for drama, because I was really disappointed with this.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the winner was Brian Cox for the show Succession, which I don't think I've ever heard of at all. And my boy Rami Malek from Mr. Robot, who delivered some of the best performance I've seen this year. Well, last year,
Yeah,
2019.
technically, yeah.
He played two of himself, like having a mind conversation with different vocalizations.
Huh?
Yeah. So himself talking to himself, and they both speaking in different ways,
Okay.
and that was amazing. And just some of the emotion in there, and you didn't win. What the fuck?
I mean, it wasn't. It was. I mean, judges were judging that, but I
I
mean,
know.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I can agree with you. I've never heard of that show neither.
Yeah.
And it was definitely one of those okay, kind of
Yeah.
ones, but
All right.
I don't
Whatever.
even think Mr. Robot was nominated for the TV.
was it not?
No.
I must have missed that, but I don't know. I don't
Ridiculous.
know. They to some extent they may have been. I don't know what this show is. It may have been like, oh, it's a new show, so maybe a new show being good, that's worthy of recognition.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll never be on that judging panel. I mean, maybe someday.
Yeah.
I mean, technically only one of us can technically be on there given a race, but
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about the Oscars more if anything, not the Golden Globes. I think they're pretty fair for the most part.
I recognise the privilege.
Yes.
When I'm an old white man, I'll be there.
Yes. You got to hit that 60 though. Then you're allowed to judge films.
I have to be a Republican too. Oh no! Surprisingly, they're all just plain neoliberals there. Boo.
Anything you
all
want to add to that, Al?
No, all good to go.
You're mainly quiet on these two things. It's not
Yeah,
until
I don't say anything on these things.
It's not until we get to the main bulk, the next few we're talking about.
Yeah,
that's when it's
that's
gonna come
when
in.
that's my cue.
That's when you hear, "Oh, we're not going to be able to get a word in me and Ace now." I believe you do have the next trailer though. The first trailer we're talking about.
St. Maud.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this film is a psychological horror directed by Rose Glass. So she's worked on plenty of short films that are mainly horror, drama, and fantasy based. What I interpreted from this trailer is basically this carer. She's looking after her patient that's basically on the verge of dying. And it kind of just it starts off normal, but then it just slowly deteriorates and starts getting darker. And it's just after the bit where her, I don't know if it's the carer's friend, that's asking her what she's up to. And she's telling her that she's still in the caring job. And then she's like, oh, still in the caring job. And then it cuts to the scene where the patient and her, I don't know if it's other patients or the patient's friends, they kind of start teasing her and saying I don't know if they said God doesn't exist. Is it I'm not too sure.
Something along those lines.
Yeah,
like,
God doesn't exist. It's not real. So and then she's like slowly starts to get insane. Yeah, I was just like, oh dear. Yeah, oh dear. So it's going to be one of those films. I can see it.
Oh no. I did a whoopsie.
And I thought it seems like it kind of, I kind of got the impression that it's like she's going to become like the new psychopath. But I thought she was going to, I don't know, from what I interpreted is like, I thought she was going to have, the patients were going to be her victims or something, but it seems like she's doing weird things to herself. Like that particular scene where she puts the spikes in the shoes.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was going to be for a victim or something, but she actually puts the shoes on and wears it. Is that, and I was thinking, is that kind of a metaphor to say she's like, what? She can't feel pain anymore? Is she like some sort of savior? I don't know what.
I'm not sure.
I don't even know.
I was like, okay then.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just I'm crazy now.
Yeah,
or
I'm
what,
crazy.
but...
Like,
I think that it goes back to this old religious practice of hurting yourself for sinning.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because they used to flog their own back as they were walking from town to town.
Right.
So it might be something to do with that. I don't know.
Yeah, and also as well, like, she kind of reminded me of a character from Silent Hill, Dahlia Gillespie. Yeah, because she's cuckoo as well with the whole religious thing. And I felt like I kind of came up with my own theory that like with Dahlia Gillespie, obviously she kind of sacrificed her own daughter to summon some form of higher being. But whereas this one, I feel like this woman's actually trying to become a higher being or something like that because she feels like the Lord lives within her.
I would, because the way I was interpreting things is because she kind of mentions how like she literally hears and feels God within her.
Yeah.
My interpretation was that's not God. She's literally hearing or being controlled by a demon to some extent.
Yeah,
what she thinks is God is actually like a demon within her. That was kind of like my thing, and I was kind of like that's kind of playing on the maybe psychological end of things and kind of gives the film a little bit more of an edge because you're like, okay, is this really God? Is she doing this to herself? Is it in her head? Is it a demon? I thought that kind of elevated to some extent. That was kind of like my interpretation of it. I
think you two have sold me more on the film than the trailer.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I didn't like the trailer that much. I thought how it was put together wasn't great, but I did want to see it in general because I want to see more films by women. Because, right. It's not as common in Hollywood. So I was going to give it that shot anyway, but you've sold me. Yeah. I'm intrigued.
I mean, it does have a lot of interesting stuff. I do like you mentioned, her being like a carer and that. And I think her, the person she's looking after doesn't believe in God. Yeah. So immediately you kind of have like that kind of friction, which could do some interesting stuff. And that pimp smack was great though in the trailer. So hopefully we get more of that as well. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. But I'm interested. It's A24, so we'll see what happens with this film. But I think we do need... Well, hopefully this film kind of becomes like the next good obsessed Christian person going out and doing things. We haven't had one of those in a while. Not that I desperately need one, but it's like so many have failed to do it where it's just like, when you have the obsessive Christian person, some people have failed to do it where it's either comedic or over the top. I think of that really bad Netflix film that was basically like a rip-off of Bird Box where I forget what that film was called, but that was hilarious.
Silence.
Yeah, the Silence. That film was... the way they depict occult or Christian people was hilarious.
I can barely remember that film despite watching it.
Good. Shall we move on to the next trailer? We're still sticking with horror, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah, so the next trailer is Gretel and Hansel, directed by Oz Perkins, which 2 films previously directed that I really liked, Blackcoat's Daughter and I Am the Pretty Thing in the House.
Yes.
I can't remember if that's the exact title or something similar.
It's a little bit longer than that.
I Am the Pretty Little Thing That Lives in the House.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay.
I really like that film, despite thinking I'd hate it. I am very intrigued with this trailer. Looks like a very dark take on Hansel and Gretel, hence the mix-up with the name. It's intentionally wrong. It's Gretel and Hansel. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
And it already sets up that disturbing feeling in you. And the whole thing has got this eeriness to it. The cinematography is haunting. And I'm just so excited.
And I also think it's quite striking and beautiful at times as well.
Like, it is.
For a film, when you hear like Grimm's fairy tale, you think it's going to be dark and brutal. Not the Hansel and Gretel but it's like got some very nice shots in it. Like inside the witch's house looks distinctively dark, but very colourful at the same time, which is quite nice. And I think my general thing with this film is I think this film will either be like like one of the greatest horror art films of maybe this year, next or decade or whatever, or it will probably be the dumbest film ever.
Yeah.
Depending, it could go either way.
I'm considering he wrote and directed both his previous films and he wrote and directed this. I'm hopeful.
Like, I hope it doesn't get stupid. Like,
Yeah.
I thought the trailer was a little bit too schizophrenic in some cases where I didn't know what was going on at points, and I was like, what happened? I get you're not supposed to see everything in a trailer, but, you know, I mean, and I'm not too sure about some of the wide-angle lenses. I think sometimes they're appropriate, but I watched the trailer a few times. It looks like, for whatever reason, he maybe only uses them, or whoever was, like, filming, only uses them outside. So don't quote me on that. That's not a fact or anything. That's just what I think, but I'm hoping that's not going to become distracting if that is the case and all the shots inside don't look like that, because then it's like, did you film all the outside shots in one day or something? You know, I don't want, because I'm that kind of person obsesses over stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if possible, it is like that. It might be intentional for like a very specific feeling.
Possibly, like the wide openness of outside or whatever. What was your thoughts on this? I know this isn't really your kind of film, I guess, maybe.
No, not really. It's just, next trailer.
Okay, fair enough. The only thing I will say about this trailer is that I was getting a lot of like Holy Mountain vibes from this trailer, with like the whole symmetry or visuals of like triangles and the person in the big hat. So I don't know whether that's like a slight callback, but we'll see.
I still need to get you to watch Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Yeah, I've got to find a DVD copy of that film, but it's just the rarest DVD ever made.
Yes,
it really
is.
It's not, but like it's
just ridiculously hard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's such a good film.
Someday. Next trailer we have is A Quiet Place Part 2. Now, before we even talk about this trailer, they need to get off their high horse with this Part 2.
I know.
It's not Part 2, it's 2.
Yeah.
It's the same film again, and it looks just as stupid as the first. I didn't even know why you were trying to make this some kind of competent artsy thing. This film looks like trash. The first film was garbage. You didn't spend no time on that original film. I don't know why everyone was singing their praises. I don't know why people were like, you can't dislike this film, it's so original. Bullshit. It's original. It's The Last of Us.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
Also, this film as well, no one can claim it's original. That shot that they show in the car, that's basically a rip-off of Children of Men.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was gonna write that, but I also said that's basically ripping off The Last of Us, the beginning of The Last of Us in the car scene.
It's actually true.
Children of Men, 2007.
Yeah, has a similar scene similar to that, doesn't it?
It's probably the best scene in the film for me.
It's the most famous scene.
It's incredibly well shot, choreographed, one take in the car, and it goes all around from the interior of the car.
If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the first examples of that being done in a film. The next being, I think, The Raid 2.
Yes, I think so.
So they basically ripped that off.
Yeah.
I think they clearly saw all the comparisons to Last of Us, and they went, "What's The Last of Us? Oh, we'll take from this."
Yeah.
And then now we have this film, which just
Also,
like
they're even more open about showing the monster in this,
like,
and they're not interestingly designed at all.
No, they're the most generic monster ever. And like, I get it, the audience who saw the first film knows what they look like, but you could still build up suspense or create paranoia by not showing them. Like,
you see the whole thing in the trailer, and it's not even a quick cut.
No.
So it's not like I went through frames to pause.
Yeah, it's like an action film now. Yeah. This, oh god, be quiet, the monster will get me, is turned into run for your life, it's coming! Which was exactly what this film is meant to be, but I understand this is studio meddling. Al, I know you have things to say about this trailer.
Not really. I mean, skip to the next one now. I felt the same thing with like the whole Last of Us vibe.
Yeah.
I definitely got that off it. But to be honest, I watched the trailer once and just never watched it again. So
understandable.
Why would you? I don't expect people to watch the trailers on this podcast more than once, but like, it was just like limp-wristed, man. And I'm surprised people even hype for this. It just goes to show how easily manipulated people are, just by calling it Part 2. Oh my god, it's serious, because this was planned, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
The only thing I will say that could be interesting or even something good is the back and forth between the past and the present. They could do something with that that's quite interesting to maybe make it more of a mystery and kind of filling the missing pieces to some extent. I mean, there's another character who doesn't even have a name as of right now. and obviously we see him running from a monster because it's an action film, not a horror film.
Right.
And maybe he'll fill out the missing pieces and be like, yeah, they actually came from here. Because you had that very laughable scene where the dad wrote, like, what is their weakness on a board? And it was like, who writes that? Survive. Got to live with food and water. You know.
That's a normal thing people write on a chalkboard to survive.
Who is he? You know, all that kind of stuff. But it was just a joke, really. I won't be watching this film, obviously. No one will.
No. I watched the first one, and that was shame on me.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. I mean, I watched some of it and I turned it off. I watched the ending, which was just stupid. Let's move on to the next trailer, which I believe you have, Ace.
Yes. So the next trailer is for, I believe, the Amazon TV show called Hunters. I've seen the poster for this constantly on Amazon because they just have it there, the big yellow with the X.
Never seen it.
So, yeah, essentially being a bunch of Nazi hunters killing Nazis. I can get behind that as a concept. You know, it's always good to hurt Nazis.
It's like Nazis are still popular.
Yeah.
I mean, are they the new zombie now? I guess, maybe.
I mean, considering how people are about Nazism, I think it's good to show them as villains more.
Yeah, there's enough people in this world who are Nazis and don't think they are.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the point of the show.
No.
But, it was a weird one. I saw the trailer for this and I was like, okay, it just has the same setup as every single Netflix show right now, which is a real shame. I wish they kind of did something a little bit more original, because there isn't really anything original to this series.
No, I mean, I was just hesitant through watching the opening part, but then when it showed the group, like, introducing them, I was like, I always fall for that. When it's got the group being, like, recruited or showing all their skills, I'm like, I can't. I like that.
You sold me.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling this one personally, but I wanted to talk about it just to get out there and have everyone else see it. Al, do you have anything to say about this one?
No, not really. I watched it. I found it very boring. So yeah, I just like that. Okay, whatever.
I'm sure it'll be good. I just don't care. Yeah. I mean, the problem is I've seen this trailer, the story, too many times. I think that's the new formula now. Pretty much is how you. Like, that's the new in thing. I don't even know if there's a name for it, like the crew.
Yeah, it's
assembling the crew.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted,
getting the band back.
Getting the band back together, yeah. I mean, and obviously I'm not going to be rude and be like, things like Umbrella Academy and Deadly Class technically have the same setup, but they obviously predate this to some extent. So, but it's just the same thing over and over again, and it's even the same with like comic films and that, where it's like the same thing. Even you can say like The Boys as well, where it's basically the same setup to some extent, and it's just like, I don't really want to watch the same show over and over again. I'm sure all of those are most likely diverse and interesting and different and do their own thing past the concept, but this was just, I've seen it. I'm done.
Right, yeah.
Was it Al Pacino as like the main?
Yeah, I think he's in it.
He doesn't sell it for me.
No, he as the leader. No, yeah. I would imagine him being one or more of the assassins.
I'd imagine him as being a head Nazi.
But you can't have him play a Nazi, though.
I mean, maybe like an ex-Italian fascist ally of the Nazis.
No, he's too famous for that. As much as that would be interesting, he's too famous because that could hurt his image.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if Dunkachino hurt his image at all.
Okay, you made the point there.
Last
trailer we have to talk about is you have this one, I believe.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So last trailer is Tenet. So this film is an action thriller directed by Christopher Nolan. So he's worked on like Dunkirk, that came out in 2017, and he also worked on 2010's Inception as well. The weird thing is, when I watched this trailer last month, I actually thought, before even doing the research of who the director was, this film trailer reminded me of Inception.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So when I did the research, I was like, oh, okay, it all makes sense now. It's perfect now. Okay, yeah. So the main actors, so it's John Washington, who played in BlacKkKlansman, and
yes.
Robert. I didn't know Robert Pattinson was in this film. I didn't clock until watching this trailer the second time round.
Okay.
I don't think I saw his face properly.
He's not really in it though.
Okay.
He's I don't know if he's like
I don't know if he's a main character. He's
I don't
probably
know
just
if he is,
yeah. But well, just to put he also starts in Lighthouse. Hint, hint. Best film of 2020. So from what I got from this trailer was that basically I felt like he's basically like a spy or something.
Seems like a special agent or something.
Special agent who basically later gets kidnapped or something, and then they do an experiment on him, and then next thing you know, he's waking up, and it's like, oh, welcome to the afterlife. And then it's like all of a sudden they're like still doing the same role of being the agent, and basically trying to prevent things from happening before they happen. Yeah. The hint I got was when the lady said preventing World War III from happening. Yeah. So there's obviously so it's very It's hinted at the fact that there's going to be time looping in this, time traveling, all that kind of stuff.
Or some sort of premonitions. Kind
of exactly. Yeah. Especially with the scene right at the end of the trailer where Washington and Patterson are in the room with the glass. Yeah. It's like, oh, what's happened here? And it's like, it hasn't happened yet. Yeah. And suddenly, bam.
It's an interesting one. This is. I will give it that. It's certainly. I always like seeing original films, especially anything I can't really compare it to.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to find out what's going on, because I don't really tell you what's going on.
No.
I'm even more interested to know how they actually achieved those shots.
Yeah.
Because I know you look at it and you're like, okay, they reversed the footage.
Yeah.
But then you kind of start seeing like present interacting with reversed motion, and you're okay, now how are they doing that exactly? Which is quite interesting. It's a very odd visual, because to some extent it's quite creepy at the same time.
Yes.
Because you don't know what motion that is to some extent. Like, is it being reversed or is it just moving backwards?
Right.
Like, is that the actual intent of the motion? Is it intentionally moving backwards? To some, I think they kind of hinted at that during like the car chase.
Yeah.
Where it seemed like someone knew what they were doing with reverse time, I guess. Which is the way I saw it was essentially only just being slightly ahead of time is a pretty interesting concept.
Yeah.
Especially just before that event happens, but in reverse. That's fantastic, in my opinion. Hopefully it works out and it isn't just a stupid film that's like, gotta stop World War III, and hopefully they don't focus on the visuals, as cool as they are. But it's an interesting film. I'm very interested to see what the hell's going on in this film.
Definitely want to watch it this
Ace, your thoughts on this one?
I'm glad Nolan's going to something creative and not doing Dunkirk stuff again.
Yeah, he's changing it up.
I didn't like Dunkirk.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But one of my first thoughts was like he's going back to his kind of almost backwards time thing with like Memento, but not in a bad way, because he's fusing it with other elements, and I found that quite exciting and interesting, and I really want to watch it because it is interesting.
Yeah, compared to I know this sounds like a weird tangent, but compared to a lot of other people's like, most anticipated films of 2020 list, I'm surprised not enough people are talking about this, because it's actually an interesting film. It's original. They're too busy pushing sequels and Mulan's coming out and all this Disney stuff is coming out, and I'm just like, you can hide the fact that you were paid off a little better. Like, you can do that.
Or that you just licked Disney's boots. Yeah.
You need to stop doing that. But it's... I mean, I don't know. I'm really interested in this film. I actually do want to see this film. I know we've got a couple months' time, and I'm going to try and avoid as much of it as possible. The poster and all the other images doesn't really give anything away. It definitely seems like... But hopefully this film comes out... Well, obviously it's going to come out.
Yeah.
I hopefully, when I see this film, I want there to be a point where I go, oh, damn, they got me with that twist. I'm hoping for something like that.
Yeah.
But not in a stupid way. I think that's pretty much done with trailers. I believe it is time for our discussion, which you have, Al.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the rest of your best and worst for 2019. Because for those of you who have or didn't listen to the end of year podcast, Al, you had to leave kind of halfway through it.
Yeah.
And we said we would finish up your list. So we're going to finish up your list to end off this podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so where we left off was the TV programs.
Yes.
So I'm going to start off with the best.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep saying last year, like, because it's happened so soon. It's so weird. But so last year I watched Killing Eve season 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's on BBC iPlayer. I found the show fantastic. The first season was great. The second season, just as good as the first one. It's just one of those ones where it's like the acting's on point, the story plot's on point, everything was thought through well. Just a little bit about the plot. So it's about a detective who she's kind of getting bored of her job in a way, just with the case studies that they look at. And then they stumble upon this new case study, which seems to like catch her eye at the most. So basically, they're looking for a Russian assassin. But and it's kind of just like a game, especially in the first season, it's like a game of cat and mouse. So she's after, Eve is after Villanelle, who's the name of the assassin, and Villanelle somehow finds out that Eve's looking for her, so she's looking for Eve.
Okay.
To try and obviously assassinate her and whatnot. But in the second season, it's kind of like Villanelle is after Eve for other reasons. Okay. But I can't obviously say why, because spoilers. Yeah, and also Villanelle kind of, how to explain it? But she kind of like developed some sort of feelings for Eve. It's like she's she sees her as a love interest as well. Okay. Because it's like she's had like relationships with people that has almost the same appearance as Eve, with the long brown hair and stuff like that. Okay. So it's, we're not going too deep into that. Okay. But yeah, you'll have to watch it to understand why. Okay.
Yeah, I know nothing about the series, but it sounds
but I would
interesting.
recommend it. I definitely recommend it. Get popcorn, get your drink, just put on iPlayer and just bang it out. It's only 8 episodes per season, so it's not too long.
Right. You're the third person to tell me that this show's good.
Oh, really?
And it's on my watch list.
Yeah, please watch it.
It keeps getting bumped up.
I mean, I've heard good things about it. I just don't know anything about it. I guess every time I hear something good, it usually gets spoiled for me, like the ending, the end of the fucking world, how someone spoiled the ending of it for me. So I'm still avoiding it for now. But
oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second one was Top Boy that came out.
Oh yeah.
The series was great as well. Plot was great. So I originally watched season 1 and 2 when it came out in 2011, I believe. So I watched it a couple of years after. I watched just before. I think it was 2000. I watched it in 2013, if I remember right. So I watched them just before I went college and whatnot. So just a quick overview. So it's basically the main character's called Deshane. He basically in the first 2 seasons he was basically trying to become the top boy. So he had to go through things. So basically a lot of drug dealing he had to do, and then he basically. I was about to go into a spoiler there. Crap.
Be careful with that.
Yeah, I was just like, damn it, I can't do it. But basically, he does become top boy, obviously. But in this season, it's like from seasons 1 and 2, it's obviously they're straight after each other. But season 3 is like a big time skip between it, because what happened was Top Boy seasons 1 and 2 were with Channel 4. Yeah. But then the contract ended, and then the show wasn't going to come back. But then Drake actually watched the series on YouTube, funny fact, and then he actually, it's weird me mentioning this, but he actually watched it and he actually admired the series, and he actually thought, let me sponsor it, and he actually brought the show back. Nice. So that's why we have the show back. And then the plot for this season is basically Deshane it's kind of weird because it's like a huge plot gap. So it's like, okay, why is he here? He's basically started his new life in the Caribbean. Obviously, he's doing pretty much the same thing, drug dealing and whatnot. But he gets himself into trouble, and then he has to basically find money to pay his debt back. And so he comes back to London, and there's this new kid on the block. He's selling the drugs and whatnot, and he's got a really good supplier. So Deshane has to find a way to kind of sabotage him. So that's kind of the overview of season 3, without spoiling it too much. But yeah, the show was okay. I enjoyed it. I think all the seasons were just as good as each other, to be fair. It wasn't one better than the other.
Good, consistent show.
Yeah, exactly. It's just consistent for me.
Good.
Yeah, it's just right. And now going into the worst of 2019. Game of Thrones season 8.
Oh boy.
See, I didn't want to mention this.
Because I think you're the first person to say this is a bad season. If I remember correctly. No one else has been saying that on the internet at all.
Really?
No. Obviously, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was about to say. Damn it. I feel like this is another series that I can't really go into too much depth with, because you literally, if you say something, it feels like you just spoiled something.
Yeah.
But I'll try my best. Basically, it's the season kind of hyped up characters to be threats, and then they just downplayed them.
Yeah, they kind of just drop off. Instantly.
Exactly. Especially with the characters Night King. Daenerys as well. Oh my god. They downplayed her at the end. Let's just say that.
it was so rushed.
Yeah, it was
horrible.
definitely
Like 5
rushed.
episodes.
Yeah.
For a final season.
Yeah.
For a final season,
Yeah.
are they longer though?
Yeah.
The thing is, I think they were same length as normal episodes.
Okay.
But the showrunners were given as much episodes as they wanted, and they just said 5 because they wanted to fuck off and do Star Wars, which they got to Disney, they started talking stuff, and they got fired for being incompetent.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Because that is
Yeah.
incompetency.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, yeah.
1 point to Disney, I guess.
I'd say 1 point to Kathleen Kennedy because it was her who did it. But that's the only
But then
time.
again, Kathleen Kennedy's like fired 8 people who tried to do Star Wars.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
But one particular scene that I actually liked in the season was, I think, actually, yeah, it was a final episode or second to last. No, second to last episode, actually. Is when Daenerys is, like, making a speech, and there's a specific shot where, like, her dragon's behind her, and then the wings, like, pop out. It's like she's almost, like, looking like she's, like, growing wings.
Like a demon.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of like, is it inevitable to say, oh, is she become, like, some sort of new threat? I don't know. It also, the scene really reminded me of a game called Soul Reaver on PS1, where the second to last level, it's like a derelict castle with like falling ashes. But the song, like when the scene came on, the song of that level played in my head. It was so weird, but I was like, nah, it fits so well. Like literally, if you just type it up.
I think you need to get onto YouTube and upload that video compilation.
And just like...
This is how I think the scene should have gone.
Yeah. But I was like, is there... Because isn't it like... I swear in that scene it's like falling ashes as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
so
ashes.
I feel like, is there inspiration there?
It's
it could
possible.
be.
I mean, cinematographers looked at a lot of stuff before, and his work is amazing throughout the whole thing. So it's very possible he was inspired by this game.
It could be, yeah. But yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's mind-blowing. Literally, I was like... Yeah, you should just try it out. Just listen to that track and then just put that scene on. Just
You'll have to send me the link
I'll have
of just
to.
the song making up the scene.
I do have to say, that battle scene that is completely dark and everyone hates, I love. Because it just makes sense. Of course, it's in the middle of night, it's snowing, visibility is going to be poor. I love that. Too bad that the actual events after the scene were just diminished. It's like, oh no, don't worry. Those people you thought sacrificed themselves, no, they're fine. They're all good. They didn't die. Game of Thrones doesn't kill people, don't worry.
Just producers do.
It's actually true. It's actually true.
Oh dear. Was that just your one last?
Yeah, that's the TV series. I only had like a couple of things to say, like the what was also on the list? Top anticipations of 2020.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So
as much as you want to talk about.
Yeah. So highlights. I had highlights. So highlights of
okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Keep going. Sorry.
No, it's alright because I keep forgetting the list. I was like, what came next again? Don't remember.
It's fine. It's fine.
But so I had highlights of 2019. So in terms of my personal life, like actually getting a job because I had such a long time of being unemployed. It wasn't fun. So I was happy that I got a new job. Meeting new people, of course, and because in my job I deal with like tourists. It's like I'm learning new phrases in different languages. Nice. So I'm really happy about that, and it's kind of motivating me to want to learn a new language. To speak. It's just actually really interesting when you can actually just you have your native language and you can just speak another language. Yeah. It's actually really cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And also as well, villains was another thing on the highlights, right?
Yeah, villains of 2019, yeah.
Definitely Thanos is up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Because he was a villain that had meaning to him. It's like he had a motive. He's like almost like he, in a way, he didn't feel like a villain, but he was a villain. Because he's like, he was a madman, basically. Yeah. He's trying to make the world...
he's called the Mad Tyrant.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Titan.
Oh, is it?
Mad Titan, so yeah.
It's like he's trying to make the world a better place, but obviously not everyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially that method.
Exactly, especially with the method he uses. It's like, but...
He's the hero of his own story.
Yeah, technically, in a way, he's the hero of his own story. Especially, like, in Infinity War. Like, you felt like, you can see he had emotion to him. It's not like one of those stale villains. It's like, oh, I'm going to conquer the world, you're going to follow my demand kind of thing.
And the final shot of him is, like, cost everything. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. And then top anticipations of 2020. So, I actually wrote down Wonder Woman 1984. We spoke about this on the previous podcast.
You're still hyped for that.
I'm still hyped for it. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to it.
I have fingers crossed for it, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy for it because it's got Maxwell Lord in it, the character. And
I don't know who that
the
is.
relation. I think Pedro Pascal is playing him.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy who has a moustache, and he was like the sleazy looking businessman.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
I think I just referred to him as Man.
Yeah. Maxwell Lord. The relationship between him and like Wonder Woman / Justice League is fascinating. So I'm very intrigued.
What
to see
is or is going to be, hopefully.
It is in the comics.
Okay.
So
all right, just to clarify it.
Also, I have it on my list, but I'm like thinking, I'm contemplating of just. I was actually meant to cross it off yesterday.
Okay.
It was actually Mulan 2020.
Okay.
But I kind of have like second thoughts on it now, because I was like, no, but Lighthouse though.
yeah.
I'm kind of, that's more my anticipated watch for this month. But I'll say Mulan 2020 for now, because actually, I'm excited. I like the Disney live action films anyway.
Okay.
So I like the fact that they're re-releasing a lot of them. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the film. And how that's going to go. I also wrote Scoob as well.
Scoob.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Scooby-Doo film.
Yeah, I thought that was adorable, the trailer.
Boy, I had a mental breakdown talking about that.
Oh, is it?
Don't even bring that up. That's not a go
I didn't watch the trailer. I just saw the title. And I was like, I don't know.
Oof.
Uh-oh.
Okay, just, keep going. Keep going.
No, that's my kind of end of top
I
anticipations.
think like we're both very opinionated about Scooby-Doo.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
we are. Let's, without making this podcast even longer than it is, let's just say one really likes it, one really doesn't. And you probably already know the answer if you listen to the podcast. We talked about it. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up the podcast for the most part. I'm going to sandbag that discussion real quick. Stay tuned for the extended cut of this podcast where me and Ace viciously talk about Scoob.
I need to watch the trailer first.
Well, you're going to get a first time watching on that video as well.
Our reaction vid. Nice.
Yeah, reaction video.
First time of the channel.
Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to add before we wrap up this podcast?
No.
Yeah, I would say I forgot to put on my like enemies of last year. The people of England.
Okay.
Those are my enemies. Yeah, not happy with you guys.
Fair enough. I don't know how many of you how many of them you're speaking to. Yeah, I guess I'll end this podcast with the video episode, which is going to be Todd and Aaron's Game Awards 2019. If you've never seen anything from Mega 64 or anything from the Todd and Aaron's Game Awards, they're not serious, I would say, just before anyone freaks the hell out and goes, who the hell's wrong with these guys? It is meant to be weird, it's meant to be stupid, it's meant to be all over the place.
Yeah, I think it should be obvious from the visuals.
Yes, it should be obvious from the not so still visuals. This is very much a moving image.
Yes. I don't think there's a static shot in that.
No, there is
Oh,
not.
my God.
But there were some lines and jokes that definitely had me laughing, especially when you talk about Joker.
Oh.
I'm gonna get a gun.
Yes,
Oh
I'm
my
thinking
God.
about getting a gun. Oh gosh, but yeah, we won't spoil the whole video, especially the ending, which is just ape shit.
It's pure.
But I guess that was the first podcast of 2020.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will pretty much, well, we've had a busy day, pretty much. And yeah, we'll see you on the next podcast, to which I can't even remember the introduction, the ending of it. I'm losing it, guys.
Oh, you think we're introducing the podcast?
Yeah,
Not to
I
the
do.
next episode yet.
Yeah, no. I'll end this podcast like I always do by saying I was the Angry Raccoon,
I'm the Indigenous Owl.
I am Ace.
and we will see you on the next podcast.